Straight ahead on 12 News, a letter to police
I want to make sure I can work hard saving people's lives.
that resulted in a special connection with a cop. Plus, sorting out the details on drones. A local lawmaker plans to take up legislation to determine how they should be legalized. But first,
from Brooklyn Center to Minneapolis, we'll take you to Surly's new destination brewery.
12 News starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. Beer lovers rejoice. The Twin Cities are now home to a brand new $30 million destination brewery.
It's the brainchild of Golden Valley resident Omar Ansari, who transformed his parents' abrasive metals business in Brooklyn Center into Surly Brewing Company. Delane Cleveland has more from the grand opening of the new brewery in Minneapolis.
I'm a big Surly fan, so yeah, absolutely. I love Surly.
An hour before the new Surly Brewery opened its doors,
And I love the hoppy flavors of their beers, and their beers are really excellent quality.
members of Surly Nation stood in the bitter cold just to say they were among the first ones in the door.
That's why I came early. I thought there'd be a big line, and I'll wait for Surly for any temperature.
So from this rubble, we are building Surly coming out as a new piece, a new thing.
Closer to the street, Zoran Moisilov put an artistic touch on the brewery's new sign.
People who drink too much before they go to the bus or the train, they can come here and then use this as we said vomitorium, so you can puke here.
A little humor was fitting on this big day.
It was entirely Omar's idea. And when he came up with it, I said, what? You want to open a brewery?
But what once seemed far-fetched to Dorit and Nassim Ansari turned into a wildly successful endeavor for their son Omar.
That's how businesses are built. I
Yeah.
mean, they start with the dream and
Yeah.
you build it.
After all, this is America.
Therefore, Betsy Hodges, Mayor of the City of Minneapolis, does hereby proclaim December 19th, 2014 as Surly Day in the City of Minneapolis.
After an official proclamation by the city, the fans got the moment they were all waiting for. Just moments after opening, this place is jam-packed with people trying to get beer. A capacity crowd of nearly 300 people,
Clearly, by the turnout, people love it, so I think it's good.
enjoying a selection of 18 different beers on tap in a 50,000 square foot destination brewery on the edge of Minneapolis and St. Paul.
I look to coming back here very many times. So it looks really good, and I'm just hoping for success for them.
With these kinds of crowds, success has gone beyond what the Ansaris envisioned so long ago.
Couldn't be prouder. Couldn't be prouder.
In Minneapolis, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
You can also buy food at the brewery, but they plan to open a high-end restaurant on the site in late spring. Surly still uses the Brooklyn Center location to brew specialty beers.
State investigators released new details today on the officer-involved shooting in which a suspect led police on a chase from Maple Grove to the East Metro. According to the State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, officers shot and killed 18-year-old Jonathan Marr of Kennewick, Washington, after the suspect came charging at them with a knife. Marr is believed to have shot 23-year-old Matthew Maffei in the head at the Maple Grove rest stop. That's off of I-94 and Weaver Lake Road. Records show Maffei also had lived in Kennewick, Washington. Why the two men were in Minnesota remains unclear. Meantime, one of the officers involved in shooting the suspect after that chase was identified today as Officer Alan Salvosa with the Brooklyn Center Police Department. 12 News did a ride-along with Salvosa in 2010, 9 months after he was hired. Salvosa is on standard administrative leave. The other officer involved in the shooting, the suspect, is Hennepin County Sheriff's Deputy Matthew Hagan. He is a 15-year veteran of the force.
Brooklyn Park Police sent out a neighborhood alert this week asking residents to be extra vigilant. In the last week, there have been 8 incidents of vandalism and theft in the Edinburgh neighborhood. There are reports of Christmas decorations and packages stolen, car windows broken, and graffiti. Police ask you to report any suspicious behavior by calling 911 right away.
Extended once again. The MNsure deadline to sign up for health plans is now December 31st. You might remember the original deadline was last Monday, then it was extended to Saturday. Now it's extended again to New Year's Eve. MNsure officials say they moved the deadline again because many health insurance companies had extended their own enrollment deadlines to December 31st.
The current chair of the Hennepin County Board tells colleagues he won't seek the leadership post next month. Mike Opat represents much of the Northwest Metro on the Hennepin County Board. By stepping down as board chair, Opat plans to focus more on issues specific to his district, including the Bottineau Light Rail line, which is entering a key planning stage. Opat has been a Hennepin County Commissioner since 1992. He has been a board chair for a total of 9 years, including the past 5. The legislature is looking to take on the issue of camera drones, small remote-controlled helicopters that can record aerial video.
Several bills aimed at regulating their use by law enforcement and hobbyists stalled in committee last session. But lawmakers have already met to talk about moving forward legislation this session. Privacy advocates are concerned that police use of drones could violate people's freedoms, and hobbyists could use them to invade people's privacy. State Senator Ron Latz says camera drones will inevitably become more popular, so the time to talk about how to control their use is now.
We'd rather get our arms around it now, figure out what the appropriate uses would be, and what kind of restrictions or restraints ought to be imposed on their use.
Senator Latz says law enforcement shouldn't be stopped from using drones to protect the public, but they should have to get a warrant when they use them in investigations.
The Salvation Army is hoping donations pick up for its Red Kettle campaign.
You want to put it in here? Here, I'll even turn it for you. Can you get it in there? Oh boy.
Volunteers from the Brooklyn Park Fire Department helped collect donations today. Donations this year are down about 20% compared to this time last year. If you give Friday or Saturday, your donations will be tripled up to $1.5 million. Money raised helps people in times of crisis.
During an event, we will call the Salvation Army to bring in donations for anybody that's had issues with their fire, loss of clothing, home. We bring in food, give them a shelter. I just think it's important to make sure that everybody gives back.
Salvation Army says donations are down this year due to a shortage of volunteer bell ringers. Coming up, a fifth grader's unique connection with a Brooklyn Park cop.
And then a little bit later in sports, Cooper and Armstrong renew their rivalry in girls basketball.
But first, a weekend in a fog. Expect above freezing temperatures with cloudy, foggy skies. We'll be right back. Given the recent national headlines from Ferguson, Missouri to New York, it hasn't necessarily been an easy time to be a police officer.
And that is one of the reasons this next story out of Brooklyn Park caught our attention.
Good. What are you guys doing?
For Brooklyn Park Detective Steve Nelson,
You ready for Christmas break? Holiday break? Awesome.
being a school liaison officer is all about making connections.
Hi guys. How are you? Good. Have a good day.
So when 11-year-old Joshua Addo decided to write to the Brooklyn Park Police Department for a school project on writing business letters,
I am writing to you because I think I have what it takes to be a police officer.
it was Joshua's letter expressing interest in the job.
I want to make sure I can work hard, saving people's lives and making our neighborhood state a safe place to be in.
That caught the attention of Detective Nelson. He felt a connection, even though the two had never met.
Me growing up, I always wanted to be a police officer. My father was a police officer, so I always had that connection. And it's nice to share that connection with someone else and break those barriers down.
Detective Nelson answered Joshua's letter.
Thank you for writing to us at the Brooklyn Park Police Department with your questions and wanting to be a police officer.
And he hand-delivered it to Joshua in class, taking time to talk with students, too, about what it takes to be a cop. And his read on Joshua?
Just a great young man, doing great in school, has a great personality, and I think he's got what it takes to be a police officer.
The two are now forming a bond.
In about 10 more years, you could be part of our police department.
It could be the early tracks to a career, all thanks to a connection. Detective Nelson is encouraging Joshua to apply for the city's Police Explorer program to get a better idea about the job. So what do you say, 10, 11 years? Maybe look for Officer Joshua Addo. You never know.
Very cute. Great story.
Still ahead, the pink Easter Bunny suit, the leg lamp, and the Red Ryder BB gun.
It's all on stage. We'll preview A Christmas Story, the musical, coming up. But first, we catch up with a former Maple Grove star who is coming off of a great college football season. John Jacobson is in next. John's in now. Always great to see former athletes do well.
Yes, we're going to get to that story in a minute. First, we got hockey. A great game last night at Maple Grove, and another nice win for the Crimson. Maple Grove and Centennial have been regular visitors to the Fairgrounds Coliseum as part of the Final Four in Section 5AA boys hockey. The site changes this year, but the Crimson and Cougars plan to be in the hunt. The Crimson entered their game with Centennial on a 3-game winning streak after an 0-4 start. The Crimson's Sam Huff scores on the quick one-timer off the face-off win by Josh Passold. Man, it's 1-0. Maple Grove adds to its lead. Matt Vogel picks off the Cougars' clearing attempt and scores 2-0 Maple Grove. Later, the Crimson on the power play, and the puck will come off the stick at Sam Franta at the blue line, and Tyler Nyman takes it the other way for the Cougars. And he goes in, scores shorthanded. It's a 2-2 game after one period. Second period, Crimson goalie Cal McKinney comes up with a big save on Nyman to keep the game tied. Still in the second, Nyman coming in on yet another rush. The net will come off behind McKinney and the puck slides in. No goal. This game remains tied at 2 heading to the third. And in the third period, Passel passes to Franta for the shot and goal. That makes it 3-2 Maple Grove. The Crimson go on to win 4-3. They are at Hill Murray on Saturday night. In girls hockey, Hopkins hosted 4th-ranked Edina. The Royal Stella Haberman taking the pass from Kylie Hanley to score and putting Hopkins ahead 2-0 in the third period. Edina gets on the board. Sophie Slattery skating into the slot, scores, cutting the Royals' lead in half. That's as close as the Hornets get. One final rush in the final seconds for Edina. They can't get a shot on net, and Hopkins wins this one 2-1. Armstrong and Cooper haven't competed in the same conference in a decade now, but the schools still will play each other in several sports. Thursday night, the Falcons hosted the Hawks in girls basketball. Lauren Johnson will miss the jumper here for the Hawks, but Jahia Gaston gets the board and basket and is fouled. The Cooper leads 8-6, but it would be their last lead of the night. Latea Turman in transition to Masengo Mutanda for the short floater. Falcons' 8th grader with 7 points off the bench in the first half. Turman feeds it ahead to Lyric Williams for a layup here, and Armstrong builds a 9-point lead by halftime. Early in the second half, good passing. Turman to Callie Fleck to Williams for the layup. The senior nets 24 points to lead all scorers. First-year Cooper coach Kiara Buford sees your team struggle offensively this night, although Lauren Johnson with a nice fast break basket here for 2 of her 18 points. Not enough, though. Armstrong wins 56-38 for their 3rd win of the season. Around the holidays, a lot of former high school athletes who are home on break from college come back to visit their old teams. And that was the case at Maple Grove boys basketball this week as a guy who had a phenomenal college football season paid a visit. Jake Wieneke, a former Maple Grove football and basketball star, worked out with the Crimson team this week. South Dakota State wide receiver Wieneke this week was named runner-up for the Jerry Rice Award as the top freshman in the FCS division. He was named second-team All-American after catching 73 passes for 1,404 yards and 16 touchdowns for the Jackrabbits. We talked with Jake about coming back to Maple Grove and about his big season in the fall.
It's awesome, man. I miss it. I miss basketball and just high school sports, so it's nice to be back out here. I mean, it was awesome. It was just fun to get the opportunity to play this year. Coming in, I didn't know how much I'd be able to play. Got the starting spot and just was able to contribute.
And a reminder, you can watch Wieneke's old team in action tonight in basketball Friday night live on Channel 12. A matchup of unbeaten, top-ranked team, their top 5 teams. Armstrong is the opponent. The game is live at 7 o'clock. You can also catch replays Saturday night at 7 and 10 or Sunday morning at 9. Jake, pretty humble about his accomplishments, but he had a great year for them this season.
All right, thanks a lot, John. Still ahead, a classic Christmas movie on stage.
We'll meet 2 local actors who are part of the cast of A Christmas Story, the musical. But first, check out the holiday spirit in this Maple Grove front yard. Some very tall trees covered in festive lights. We found this beautiful display in the 6400 block of Juneau Lane in Maple Grove. If you know of an outstanding lighting display in your neighborhood, let us know about it too. Send an email to news@12.tv. A couple of Northwest Metro actors will take the stage at the Ordway as a favorite Christmas movie comes to life on stage.
That's right. Neil Persley has a preview of A Christmas Story, the musical, in today's Weekend Showcase.
You may be well acquainted with the 1983 movie A Christmas Story. The Ordway Theater brought the movie classic to life on stage. The storyline follows the same as in the movie, except with music. That's right. From now until December 28th, you can see A Christmas Story, the musical. The entire story revolves around 9-year-old Ralphie Parker's wish for a Red Ryder BB gun. Brooklyn Center resident Austin Van wears 3 hats in the production as the associate director, choreographer, and playing the mother of Ralphie's pal, Schwartz.
I'm on the phone talking to Mrs. Parker, and apparently her son, Ralphie, the lead of the show, has said a swear word, said a really bad word. And he's blaming it on my son, but he actually got the bad word from his father.
The story is told by narrator Gary Briggle as an adult Ralphie Parker looking back on his childhood.
There's about 14 wonderful children that are in the show. The set is huge and beautiful. The costumes are great. It's a feel-good kind of a show.
Maple Grove resident Kirsten Rodow plays Flick's mom.
Flick is the boy who gets his tongue stuck on the flagpole.
All the scenes are there, which you remember: the car breakdown, the pink bunny suit, and of course, the major award.
I want a major award. If they know the movie, they will get, I think, a wonderful upgrade to the movie. Everything is emphasized even more with song and dance.
For a Weekend Showcase, I'm Neil Persley.
Shows at the Ordway in downtown St. Paul run through December 28th. For tickets, you can go to ordway.org. So many good moments in that show.
Yeah, maybe the Christmas Carol isn't part of your Christmas tradition.
Right.
Go and see the
But you
Christmas
can make
Story.
it. That's right. That does it for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
And we leave you today with the Maple Grove Senior High Choir, who performed at the Birchwood Apartments on Thursday night. Enjoy, everybody.
Love and joy come to you, and to you glad Christmas too, and God bless you and send you a